What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Hey, welcome everybody. It's the Wednesday night edition of the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and we've got a really fun show tonight. It's also going to provide some really amazing information and inspiration because it's a Zenka Caro show. And Zenka is one of the most magical, wonderful, incredible people I've ever met. And she's going to share with us all the incredible things that she is doing with LightNet, including the launching of her Starseed Academy. And it's Alan Steinfeld week. Alan is going to be on the show both tonight and again on Saturday night. So we're going to introduce everybody. We've got some other great guests, Oracle Jessie Lynn, Coffee Rain, and some other special guests that are going to be with us. You're going to meet all of them tonight. But let's get the show rocking and rolling the way that we love to do so with the one and only Amushar.
That would be me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, and welcome all on Facebook and YouTube and our broadcast partners. And so this is a song that was called to be played tonight, and it's called I Am the Lover You Need. And of course, it's the lover within that we need rather than the outer lover. And so let's go into our theta or alpha or even gamma brainwaves to receive this amazing transmission.
Where is the light in your eyes? Where is the joy in your heart? Why are you hiding from me? Staying locked in your doubts. My love is all that there is. Your fear is hurting you so. I know it's all that you feel, and that it's hard to let go, let go, let it go, 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 believe in me. You'd rather live in your dreams. I've come to set you free. I am the lover you need. I hold my hand out to you. All I ask is your trust. I love you more than you know, and I love you, and 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 I see you longing for home. You need to feel you belong, and that there's purpose to life. Come back home.
Let's all give a big twinkle to our wonderful Omastar.
All
And thank
right.
everybody for getting up and moving and grooving to the dance. Saw some of our new guests right away, got into the spirit of things.
And all I had to do was think of Zenka, and it went kapow.
Right, right. Well, we're going to have two more Omastar songs, but just want to, while I'm thinking about it, remind everybody the way to get Omastar is to go to Bandcamp. And so that's where all of his albums live. If you go to omashar.bandcamp.com, that's where you'll find his music. Let's support this wonderful, wonderful man. And he will be back with not one, but two more songs tonight. So it's a 3-song night. And it is a Zenka Caro night. You know, I first met her, I think it was 3 years ago when we were doing the Day Out of Time. I think it was around that time. Anyway, I met her and right away she was like, this woman is a trip. And then I got to know her and I can say we became friends. And some of you have already heard that I stayed with her for a week in Sedona, and it was amazing being in her home and watching all the incredible people coming through, playing ping pong with blindfolded and levitating and spaceships and all sorts of amazing magical things going on. So it is a Zenka Caro show, which means I'm just turning it over to Zenka to tell us about all the amazing things she's got going on in her life. And that is the man who, behind every great Zenka, there needs to be a good man. And this is her lucid living good man. So thank you both for being with us. And wow, tell us what you've got for our audience tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Scott. And thanks to all the people that are watching in whatever network you're watching from, because you represent the hope and leading edge of the future. Positive content, recreating TV, standing for peace, standing for listening to all these different perspectives that come through this door to expand ourselves. And Osmar, that was an incredible song because it was just like pulling us out of this dream world, using love, putting that fear at bay for a second. And I love your background and I love music. You know, last night I was editing a video with the Hertogs, and they were just like, it's all about color and sound and music. There's things that we are doing as evolutionary leaders, all the people that are watching this and seeing this, you guys are doing things that are not yet able to be written down and cognized, as Alan would say. So this leading edge of this experience we're bringing to the world is with the music, is with Omashar's words, is with these colors and these images of like bringing, bring Omashar back on here, because it's like the both sides of the dark and the light, like saying, okay, let's look at it all, let's bring it all out to play, let's look at these images, the science and the spirit. So thank you for that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I truly think we're learning as an organization, as a force, as a movement to fly right now. Like we are getting our wings. It's like getting on an airplane. They're like, you guys got your wings. Like we're finally coordinating with each other, collaborating with each other. And so I just want to thank everyone for being here, and thank Scott for every week turning out incredible content and letting all these voices come in. So really, really appreciate everything you are and do.
Thank you.
So tonight, I want to start by just asking everyone, I want to tell you a little bit about LightNet and Starseed Academy quickly. And tonight, we're going to go through some of our incredible professors, and we're going to walk you through some experiences, because, I actually first have to start to tell you that my specialty, and the specialty of all the professors that are here tonight, is what we call the science of the impossible. So our mission in the world is to expand out further consensus reality, expand out our belief in our potential as a community, as humans. And so we really just run straight for the stuff that people are like, impossible. And I'm like, is it really? And that's where my deepest curiosity lies. And I want to inspire you during this program tonight to be as curious as I am about impossible, or what you've told has been improbable, or that's not likely to happen, or all these things. Because my deepest belief is that we kind of have been given an open blank slate here, where the edges are really not put in place. And it's up to us to not be the elephant that was chained. There's that whole story, like this elephant was chained to the tree at an early age. Then they took the chain off, and the elephant didn't go anywhere, because that's its box. And we're living in a box right now when the world is calling us out to fly, like Omashar's wings. Like we're ready to bring about a new possibility for us all, for the people that are in the worst situations, that are the saddest and the maddest, and all of us to living our dream lives. There is new possibilities. So tonight, to start, I want you guys to get a paper, or even if you don't have a paper, I want you to think about someone that you've met in your life that did something that you had considered impossible. So think about someone that that you were like, wow, I can't believe they pulled that off. I can't believe they did that. So give you a second to think about that. Can be someone you don't even know. And now I want you to think secondarily about something that you did that at first you thought, wait a minute, this is impossible. Like, I'm not going to be able to do this. What was that thing when you were a little kid, or maybe recently, where you weren't sure, you didn't actually believe that you could do it? And finally, I want you to write down something or think about something that you want to do now
Hmm.
in your future that you absolutely consider impossible. And I don't know, Scott, if we can pull a few people up just to hear one of these three things. You know, we've got Dr. Laura saying almost my entire life has been one impossible experience after another. I'd love to know what Dr. Laura, what you mean by that.
I would love to pull people up. So what makes it easy is to know who wants to come up is if you go into your toolbar on your computer where you can do reactions and choose thumbs up or raise your hand. Either raise your hand, you'll see right there it says raise hand. And that means that you're willing for me to put you on camera to chat with Zenka and I. And then I know who to pull up. Plus it also puts you right at the top of the gallery. So who would like to share? And don't be shy. Well, I see Oracle Jessie Lynn, so I'm going to bring her up first.
Were you fixing your hair, or were you?
Oh, you fixing your hair? I saw the hand going up, so I thought, okay, well that works.
But I love it.
Well, do you have while now that we spontaneously have you up? Is there a story?
Yeah. I didn't ever think that you could teach people how to access their psychic abilities, and it turns out you can. And I actually try to do one impossible thing every month. I want to bump that up to every day, but that's a pretty big commitment. So far, all I've been able to commit to is once a month. And I feel that if we don't shoot for the impossible, then we're not using all of our God seed. We're not using all of our abilities.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know, I recently saw this movie called The Theory of Everything on the Airplane about Stephen Hawking's, and they basically told him forget it, man. He was a young man at Cambridge, and they're like, you are going to die in 2 years, period. And the love of his wife, Jane, and his whole drive to understand the unlimited nature of the universe caused him to live for decades. So sometimes we have these examples out of people that are really doing extraordinary things. And it is time right now to start incorporating that into your belief system.
Mm-hmm.
Because at Starseed Academy and LightNet, we say, if you can do it, I can do it. And that is the truth. We have learned hundreds of people over what Jesselyn said. It's not like you're born with psychic abilities or you're not. Oh, your mom was psychic, so you can do it, but this guy, no. We have been shocked, actually, at the fact that anyone have these abilities. And we're not talking always about special abilities at LightNet. We're studying a lot of different things that got us curious. So one of them is addiction. You know, I struggled with addiction in my life, and it was disempowering. I was unempowered, going, why can't I stop smoking cigarettes? Why can't I stop doing coffee? Why can't I stop smoking pot? Why can't I stop drinking? Like, I could not control myself. That is the opposite of empowering. And our mission tonight, and our mission in general, is to get you more curious about what you're disempowering yourself and how you're doing that in your life. Because one of the things we've realized is that your brain is pretty filled with the world opinion about certain things, just like Stephen Hawking's. Like, no one's ever been cured of that. So like, you are going to die in 2 years. That's just the way it is. So we take on all these beliefs and all these things, these circumstances. But what our methodology is in Starseed Academy is we throw you off the deep end on the first class. You're remote viewing on the first class, something that your mind's going, my mind, even as the orchestrator of all stuff, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to remote view. I mean, some people have the ability, like, it would be interesting to watch people do it, like, but I disbelieved in my own self. And yet, you've got your thoughts and your actions and your spirit, your thought, action, and your experience. I'm sorry. So if your mind is blocking you, go to your body, mind, body, spirit, go to your body, go to your actions and actually fake it, right? And you will start to realize that you can do that thing. They say about abundance, it's your abundance is saying like, oh, I want to have more money. You're going to be wanting to have more money for the rest of your life because you're wanting to have money. When you start to give away money or do something extravagant yourself for that you don't think you should do, you're starting to train your body, to train your spirit to go back to your mind. And so you start to get this loop out of that loop. And I'll just close by saying, before we go into some of these experiences we're going to take you through with some of our incredible professors, is that, LightNet, I have been drawn to do different impossible things. Number one, we started out with contact because we were like, is ET contact real? Can we actually do this? How do we do it? What methods do we do? What's the easiest, fastest way to do it? Then we looked at purpose, which we're doing right now. We studied how 100 people found their purpose. And the point is to publish this data to get you guys to go, oh, I haven't tried this. I forgot I need to get out of my comfort zone. I haven't tried this. I need to do that. So our mission as a nonprofit is to not only tell you a story about Stephen Hawking or the girl next door or whoever it is that says, hey, wait a minute, I was able to do this. You can too. But to give you the data to say, if you're curious in your house, you get in there and you try that thing that remote viewing technique or whatever it is. And then the third thing is that we put people in groups of 8 to 12 because I don't know what's going on, but basically when you get 8 or 12 people together that want to do the same impossible thing, we've had miracle results because you have an echo chamber of people that are loving and supporting you. So if you're up to something impossible in your life, try to find at least one other person that can go with you there, that can be like, yep, you should try that, Zenka. Just go for it. Like, you need people around you that are, you don't need it because a lot of people have had to do it without that. We've learned that in the Purpose Lab. A lot of people have like, Bruce Lipton's like, I literally thought I was crazy. He was like, I thought I was like I was crazy, but I knew I wasn't, because I was looking, I knew that they were missing something, that consensus reality got the hypothesis wrong. And now he's the father of an entire epigenetics research that we would never have known about if he didn't just go out there. But the point is this: when you get loving people in an environment, we have been able to pull off crazy things. And Lynn McTaggart will do that, tell you that too. So
I'm gonna come in for a moment for a few things. I'm gonna read a few comments that have come in
awesome.
and answer to your question. And I also want to share a story, another miracle, very similar to what you were talking about with Stephen Hawking. This is a book from an author that's going to be on the show next month, all about he and his wife. His wife was given 30 years ago a 2-year max diagnosis, and she lived for 28 more years. And this is the book all about it, called Miracle After Miracle. And over and over and over, health crises, that's it, it's over. And through their love and through their prayer, she lived and lived and lived and lived. So that's a great story. A few comments from people that are a little shy to be on camera, so I'm going to read for them.
Cool.
We'll start with Tarina Joy writes, one of the impossible things I've managed to do was to reverse the severe damage from the nuclear radiation from both Chernobyl and Fukushima on my body through long-term chelation, alternative detoxification methods, and plant medicines. So much so that my uranium levels, which were through the roof based on multiple lab reports, are now back to normal, which is quite impossible. It's incredible in light of the millions of victims from these accidents, many of my family and friends included, who died from various cancers and autoimmune diseases as well. And it's from Tarina Joy, one of our regulars who's down in Ecuador right now.
And I just want to make a comment before you keep going.
Yeah.
I went to speak at a conference in Chicago, and a filmmaker did an entire film about women who lived near Chernobyl that didn't get sick at all. Their brains were so hard-headed. Their intention was so hard. Their hearts were so strong. Their belief system was so empowered. They did not even get sick, and they lived out there like, I'm not moving. I'm not moving. This is where I grew up. This is where my home is. I'm not moving. And so let this sink in, what she just shared. She's cured herself of uranium. So I ask you to look back at the notes that you had of what you thought was impossible or not. And we're going to talk about some other crazy stuff. So just let your brain open up a little bit to consider that your curiosity could flip that whole thing around.
I'm just going to read a couple more comments and then turn it back over to you, including there's a question for you. Charlotte writes, Dear Zenka, you are such a gift. My spirit needed you today. So that's pretty cool. Oracle Jesse points out that you showed her that she could bend a spoon. So that was a miracle that you brought in. And Dr. Laura does have a question. She says, remote viewers are some of the ones who have raised the alarm for a fake fear event in the skies next week, July 15 to 17. Have you talked to the ETs about anything like this occurring? A false flag event?
Yeah, I have a very particular way of thinking about negative events that are going to happen or not happen in the future. And one of the things that goes along with the fact that you can create, do, be, and experience anything is that fear. What you fear, you attract. So I used to be all in the talks and the fight. And I did a lot of that work for a lot of my life and was looking at all those statistics, that news and all the stuff. And I stopped because I wanted to put my heart and my life force and my energy into the stuff that I wanted to come true around me. And I would, if I were confronting with that reality, I mean, the other thing you have to realize is not all bad things are bad. When you get sick, that's actually your body and your soul saying, are you listening? Hey man, can I get your attention? Like, I need to tell you something. You are off course. You need to adjust. So if something is going to happen on the 15th and 18th, let's hope that we learn from it, or let's pray or envision something or ask for something else to happen. Like maybe something beautiful could happen. So again, when you're loaning your belief, especially about something in the future, you're basically adding your chip to it, things going down and bad and whatever.
I want to add just a quick riff and then turn it back over to you. And I know Coffee Rain raised her hand too, so we'll bring her up.
Awesome.
Instead of saying I'm sick, the truth is, like if you have a fever, you're healing. That's what a fever does. When we have a fever, our body is healing itself. So it's so interesting, the difference between, oh, I'm sick, I've got a fever. No, actually, oh, my body is taking control. It knows that whatever's going on and it's warming me up and I'm in a healing process. And just that is a simple example of something that we all experience fevers at some time or another. And that's just the body healing itself. I'm going to bring up your partner, Coffee Rain, so you may want to introduce her.
Awesome.
Hi. So I just wanted to say it was very funny in the comments already. We're having two people, Richard and Carol, who mentioned that they would like to fly, and I'm leading some of the research on levitation. So that was one of the first things that I was really thought was something that was impossible. When I encountered it, the first person I saw doing it was someone from Russia, actually a Russian organization, and yeah, that was really cool. So I just wanted to put that out.
Yeah, that's awesome, Coffee. And that's, we really look at the things that we think are impossible. And we've had a growth experience on the whole levitation lab, because even I was like, oh, okay. And we also have a paralysis lab, which is kind of its companion, for people that can't even hear the word levitation or can't even go there at all. We have this paralysis lab, and both of them are equally impossible feeling, because the medical community is like, oh, you're in a wheelchair. We don't have medical, techniques that we can do to help you, to fix paralysis. And yet I danced with a guy that was completely paralyzed, and the love of his wife and retraining his brain and when his healer, he literally did that impossible thing. And I think if we can collect these stories, and the same thing happened with Coffee's levitation lab, it's I was like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden she's meeting people in the telephone store at T-Mobile.
Zenka, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, but we just had Kathy say, I levitated from a horizontal position after a Kundalini awakening. So here we go. Here's another person who just found us, who levitated, and we run into these people all the time. So Kathy, you'll have to give me your contact information, because I definitely want to do an interview if you're open to that. But yeah.
Right.
And Omashar has a sharing. So I'm going to bring up Omashar.
Tell us.
Tell us. Well, I used to live in New Zealand, and I made a commitment to leave my life over there and come to the States to a metaphysical gathering. I didn't have any money, but I had keyboards, and I wasn't going to sell the keyboards because they were what I needed to use in the States to be at this metaphysical gathering. Anyway, what happened was I made a commitment to myself to do this thing, to come to the States, even though I didn't have any money or resources. The next thing I do, I walked into a keyboard shop, and there was an American keyboard manufacturer's CEO in the shop who saw me, and we chatted with each other, and I told him what I wanted to do. He said, well, you sell your keyboards here, then you'll have the money to come to the States. When you come to the States, contact my secretary and we'll gift you a brand new keyboard to borrow until you can get up on your feet and pay for the keyboard and then give it us back. And so that was me saying to the universe, I made a commitment to the universe, not knowing what the heck was going to happen. The next thing I knew, I walked into a music shop and there's a CEO there saying, I don't know you from a bar of soap, but I feel you and I'm going to give you a keyboard when you come to the States. Sell your keyboards here and you have the money to fly. So that's my impossible story.
I love that.
Right.
And that's, that's what we've revealed in our research. So this has been so interesting. So in the Purpose Lab, we think something crazy happens when your heart is alive and on fire. Like Omashar needs to make music. That's his gift. That is awesome. He is going to wither away if he stops doing music. He doesn't get to do his joy, his mission, his gift. He doesn't get to share his love with the world. And when people have the guts to go there, all sorts of miracles happen. And we think that it's something with your heart that happens. Like there's a fractal field that Dan Winters talks about where you're basically imploding into a cascading, nested
As a toroidal
toroidal field, right? And so all of a sudden, this thing that's like attracted, and that's these people in the Purpose Lab, this 10% that follow their purpose or 5%, they say these stuff to me. They're like, I can't believe it was like miracles happen. Like, I didn't believe I'd ever meet someone that could do this and that would ever help me there. So that's the power of passion. And we want to talk to you about tonight the power of belief and asking you to believe in yourself a little bit more and believe in each other and tell other people you believe in them, because that's important. So I was going to just mention a few more things before we get to Alan, very few, but we wanted to get your opinion too, Adam, about this whole discussion.
Yeah. Well, since we're going to segue into Alan, I wanted to share something about the researcher Russell Targ, and hopefully your audience is familiar with his work. If not, he funded his research through the CIA. He was a remote viewing researcher, and he made a deal with them, like whatever they needed him to do, that was fine. That could be top secret, but everything else that he spent his time on would be public knowledge. And that wound up being about 80% of their research. They took some of the money and they hired world-renowned psychics to come work for them. And they had some pretty cool success. A couple of years into it, they decided they needed a control subject so that they had something to baseline against. And they had become friendly with a photographer who had an office down the hall from where they were at. And she agreed, and she began to work with them. And over time, they realized that among all of them, she was the best at hitting our targets, both in the past, in the future, and at remote locations. So these things we're talking about, anyone can do it. It's very literal. Anyone can do it. And I'm really excited to see where Alan's going to take us.
Yeah, that's such a great example, Adam, of where we want to hit everyone that's listening to this program tonight. There's a reason why you're listening to this program. There is something that is scaring you. Like someone told me the other day, like, your purpose in life should excite you and scare you at the same time. Like, oh gosh, can I really do that? Like you want to get up against that edge because you guys are pioneers, you're evolutionary people. Otherwise you wouldn't be part of the global peace drive, period. You are here to love into our possibility space, right? And I just want to close by giving you the fact that we're starting out LightNet with 5 labs, and we're just getting our software really polished and ready to open next week with our Starseed Academy lab research teams. So our labs are addiction, which we're going to be starting soon-ish. Purpose, which we've got running right now. We're going to open up teams in October. We've got Coffee mentioned levitation. So we've got levitation and paralysis. So they're really really important, because if we can get out of wheelchairs and levitate, and I'm telling you, we've met 15 people that can levitate. So it's really cool. And our software is designed to reveal the pattern, the similarity between 100 people or 8 people or whatever we have, right? So we want to deliver this very important, powerful consciousness, this belief, this data, this pattern, right? So that you guys can apply it to whatever you're doing, whatever feels hard for you. And the last one is the contact lab. And that's where we really started. And we started early on with Alan Steinfeld as one of our core team members and our core professors. And I just want to, in final, say that we only take 8 to 12 people in these, what we call research teams. And we call them research teams because Alan is not teaching you remote viewing. He's doing off-planet remote viewing. He's the only one in the world that's really focused on this as a practice and a curiosity. And we've had so many stunning results. He's been best professor so many times in a row, and he's proved that anyone can do it. And he's proved that as a group of 12 or more, we can actually explore places we can't even go to.
Hey, talk about Libby, the woman who was in the class, because that was a miracle.
Yeah, Libby is visually impaired. In other words, she cannot see the physical world. And she began to see the targets that Alan was proposing. And this happened again and again and again. We started seeing similar things on planets. And there's precedence for this. I mean, the Hertogs saw pyramids on the moon. There's people that have remote viewers that have said there's something there. And then science later said, oh yeah, we did find something there. So this opens a whole other realm of research and exploration that we can do together through Alan and through his incredible teachings and his things. And his class is starting on Tuesday.
The 16th, July 16th. Be there. I think we have room for one more person.
One more lucky person.
And it's been really a learning process for me, teaching the remote viewing, because I didn't know what I was going to do when you said, oh, you want to be part of this. And then I wrote this book, Making Contact, and I had studied with Russell Targ, remote viewing, and then it just came together. Oh, I'm going to remote view for making contact off planet. It's just like, boom, because of your facilitation, Zenka, it came together. I have to say, Zenka is a miracle herself. I've been going to Sedona for 40 years, since the 1980s. Zenka shows up, I think, in 2021, and suddenly there's a community of people coming together that have never come together before. We didn't have the community that has rallied around Zenka and everything she's so excited about. It didn't exist in Sedona. And one of the things that keeps me coming back to Sedona is the community. And Zenka is the mayor. She is the one who leads the class. And people can bend spoons in her presence. That's the kind of energy that she has. And maybe we'll do some of that tonight, but thank you for the opportunity of working with you, Zenka. And yes, the remote viewing has been a really fantastic demonstration to me that it's not just that anyone can remote view, which means you're not using your local senses to see or hear or sense what's in the distance. It's that we are already infinite. You know, that's the thing that everyone can do because we already are that, and we've been dumbed down in the matrix to think we're this very small little minded person. But consciousness is infinite, you know. It is not contained in the brain. I mean, they proved that. Eben Alexander proved that when he was in a coma, he had all these visions and all these sensorial, and he was brain dead, but yet he was having awareness. Anita Moorjani proved that in her near-death experiences. The brain is the local receiver, but as Bruce Lipton says, if your radio dies, it doesn't mean the broadcast has stopped. So the broadcast is always going. And, you know, you need a new phone, you pick up the phone, you dial in the same number, that same soul frequency, you pick up all your messages from the cloud. So we are infinite, and we are forever, and we are so much bigger than what we've been told. And this is really the Aquarian awakening, the Aquarian conspiracies, to stop believing the old dogmas about what we were taught we are. And like Joe Dispenza has demonstrated, we are tapped into the quantum field. And that quantum field is always flowing through us. When I studied with the Aborigines, they told me about dream time. I met them. I went over to Australia, not to really meet them, but I happened to, you know, connect with these amazing Aborigines. And they say their religion is dream time. Dream time is what happens to all of us when we start to lose that conscious awareness as we're falling asleep, and the images start to flow through our minds. And if we can become the observer of those images, we are in dream time. And that quantum field that's flowing as dream time is giving us messages of the future, of the past, of parallel dimensions of who we are. I mean, dreaming is not what we think it is. It is tapping into these other realms that are vastly converging onto our mind field. So that's just a little background about how I approach remote viewing as an aspect of the infinite. And I always think it's so ironic that the CIA, because the remote viewing was developed because the CIA wanted to compete with the Russians because they had a psychic spying program, and then Stanford Research Institute hired Hal Puthoff and Russell Targ, Ingo Swann, who coined the term remote viewing, to develop a psychic spying program. But Ingo said, no, I don't want to call it psychic spying. Let's call it remote viewing. And that was a lot classier. And the CIA, in a sense, discovered the infinite, our God being. I mean, not directly, but I think it's kind of ironic that it's in conjunction with all that. And that's kind of a fast history of the remote viewing program. But for over 50 years, it's been proven that our five senses are not all that we can sense. And other people have proven that too. I mean, I'll do a remote viewing, but let's just do a demonstration with everyone here for a second. So just close your eyes for just everyone on the call and everyone listening, and feel your feet on the floor. Just put your put your attention at the bottom of your feet. So you're on the floor with your feet, whatever floor that is. Now, if you're sensitive, you can feel everything dropped. We just drop down into the earth base, right? You feel that? You feel how it's kind of gotten a little heavy, not in a bad way, but a little, because we're all on the floor with our attention on our feet. Okay, now put your attention in your heart and expand that out. And you feel that expansion. You feel that. Okay, I'm just going to run through this quick. Now put your attention on the top of your head, right there at the top of your scalp. Just put your attention, however you want to do that, imagine it, intend it, feel it. Put your attention on top of your head. Great. You can feel a shift in the quantum frequency there. Now put your attention on the ceiling of whatever room you're in, or the sky. Put your attention on the ceiling of that room. Just put your attention right up there. Just throw it up there. Imagine it be great. Now put your attention through the ceiling into the sky above whatever house you're in. Just great. Now you can feel like you've gotten a little spaced out, right? A little out there. And feel everyone else in the sky with us. And feel the collective conscious. We are all out there in the darkness of that sky, or the blue of that sky. And in that space, I'm going to present you with the object I want everyone to see in this remote viewing. So I'm going to give it out to the quantum field out in outer space there, all of us floating out there. And we're floating. You know you're floating when you're feeling a little altered, a little high, a little distorted. We're all out there together. And it's just a really kind of blissful feeling. Okay, now if you can, while you're out there, slowly open your eyes halfway, and you'll see you're in two places at once. Just two places, half open your eyes. So you're out there still, and you're coming back into this reality. So, and you can feel your conscious field is actually different, and actually you've just created a different reality in the space you're in right now. You've just shifted your reality because your field has shifted. Great. And I'm still a little dizzy actually, so great. Okay. Now open your eyes all the way and just get back into your body. Good. Take a breath. But remember where you've been and remember that feeling. And just wonder if anyone has any comments about those sensations, because they are sensations, but they're not five senses sensations. They're other senses we have. So anyone want to comment in the chat or
a minute for people to write. So while
right.
we're waiting for people to put in their comments, Alan, there's a question for you. Maybe you can answer the question and we'll see what comments come in. Dr. Laura wants to know if you can share some of the things that you've seen during your remote viewing, especially about ETs.
Great. Yes, that's a really good question because we do that in the class. After we learn the basics of remote viewing, we go off planet and we go together. So, one of the things that we did in one of the classes with Zenka before I get to off planet is that we went to the black hole at the center of the galaxy. And me and Zenka both had the same experience of being totally distorted, totally thrown off, totally confused by diving into that black hole. I'm not doing that again, but it was, right, Zenka? We both had that same sensation. It was such a weird feeling to be sucked into that black hole and have our minds be distorted. So I'm not going there again, but right, we both had that same feeling.
Yeah,
Isn't
it was very interesting. And what happens in your teams is that, I mean, I was in the first session of your first group session last time, and everyone in the entire class got something correct about, I mean, this was before it would take like 3 exercises or so, but there's some sort of a group mind that emerges.
Yes.
And details are shared back and forth at your soul, I guess, level or something. Or maybe you're there and then you help me get there. But that was a very powerful and interesting experience, as was other planetary stuff. But yeah, I remember one person fell asleep because they didn't want to go into the black hole and whatever. But it's very cool because our bodies are safe.
Yeah.
Great way to go to space, you know?
Right. And we want to honor the body. It's just that we're extending our conscious field beyond the body, which is also the field. But yeah, thank you. So I've gone off planet and see beings and gotten messages from some of these beings, and some people in the class got similar messages or saw similar non-human beings. I mean, I like to go to different places in every class, but that's after we learn the basics. So I'll just do a little remote viewing now. You think that would be good, Zenka?
Yeah, let me just read some of the comments of what people experienced during your process.
Good.
Sylvia said that she felt various others out there with her, and you had asked us to see an object. So we have a few people responding. Sylvia said that she sensed a glowing sphere as the object. Carol Craig thought it was an elephant. Richard said he was thinking something round. I'll be honest, I saw a plate. I saw a round plate.
Right. Okay, we're going to go to that same object, Scott. We're going to say, we're going to remote. So everyone close your eyes for a second. And I have an object in my hand. And don't think about what anyone said. And I'm looking at this object. You could see through my eyes, or you could feel and sense what this object is. So don't guess. The key to remote viewing is let your right brain receive. So you're going to receive it. So that means something's going to pop into your head, and it's good to describe it. Don't name it, because naming is a left brain thing. Describe it, what color, shape, texture, feel, all that. And those people who got those other objects, you can stay with that or remote view a little deeper, because there's levels and levels. So just write it down or draw it or something. And the key to remote viewing, like I say, I can't teach it to you, but you can learn it, is that the signal from the object is feeding your right brain all the time, as long as you have your intent on it. It's all about intention. And that's not an active thing. It's just a boom. So it's like a window opens up in your mind, and this object will pop in. But it's never what you think it is, because that's the left brain. It's something beyond words. But that's good. Okay, Dr. Law. Okay, so just take another minute and, okay, write it down. But let me just tell you some of the things I'm seeing in the chat. Dr. Laura, who's Dr. Laura here? Is she on the screen?
She's not on the screen. She's watching.
Okay, color, purple, crystal glass, feeling. That's very good. Someone got white crystal type item. Great, we have a good class here. What else did people get? Anyone wants to say it out loud or describe it? Anybody want to just share? Anything, Zenka? Did you get anything? Adam, Zenka, coffee?
Yeah, at first when we first did this, I got something round in blue, and then I also got a pencil come into my mind, so that was weird. And then
Pencil came into my mind several
I
times.
saw
and
that.
Yeah.
But then I got really mixed up with my strategic mind, because you're like, I have it in my hand, and so my brain was also imagining like a crystal ball in your hand or something, or then a chain or something. So it's like,
Right.
when your logic mind gets involved, you are screwed. Basically.
You're not in your left brain. I mean, you're in your left brain, which thinks it knows that. It doesn't know anything. It just thinks it does. We want to access this. So usually the first impulses are pretty close. So did you get anything, Jessica, Jesslyn?
I got a pyramid too at some point, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, you didn't get anything. Okay. Anyone else? Gold medal, pyramid, coin. Okay. I'll just do this fast because I know there's other people going. Okay. What was the first thing you said you got, Zinka?
A blue ball.
A blue ball. And Dr. Laura got a
Dr. Laura,
purple glass feeling. Okay.
Yeah, crystal glass feeling.
Okay. This is the big reveal here. It's this blue glass candle holder with a little, good job, Zinka and Dr. Laura. It just popped. How did you get this? Did it just pop into your head?
First thing.
It's the first thing. It's before you start thinking. So if you were here, I'd give this to you, but yes, congrats. So that's how you do remote view. You let it pop in. It's the first thing before you start thinking. A window opens and boom, it's there. And once everyone in the class can really tap into that immediate feeling, then we go off planet, because we can get a consensus on the targets that we know. Then we hope to get consensus on the targets we don't know. And that's where we start making contact. And that's where it really gets exciting. So
I want to acknowledge Dr. Laura, because she really had it pretty clear. And she said it did pop into her head.
yes.
And Charlotte said she thought she was thinking oval and kind of metallic. Omashar had picked up a blue cup.
A blue cup, Omashar. You're absolutely right. How did you get that, Omashar?
It just popped into my head.
That's the right answer. It just popped into his head. That's it. You're the receiver. Your brains are senders and receivers. Most people are sending thought all the time and they're not sitting back and receiving, except if you're an artist or an intuitive and you're a musician. So you received it. It popped into your head. And don't analyze. Yeah, right. Because if you start thinking about it, then your mind gets in the way. But great. Thank you. This is a great class, Scott. Really good. Good.
All right. All right.
We'll do more, and it's so much fun because sometimes in the CIA, groups would work together, and they would one person get a little piece there, another person get a little piece there, and we go to locations, and one of the bullseyes of the targets was someone got a big what was it? A big sort of arch, and someone else got a river, and then someone else came up with must be St. Louis, and it was the arch in St. Louis. That's what I call a bullseye in target practice. So,
hey, I just want to let people know how they can sign up. So
yes.
go to Starseed Academy, which is of course Zenka's organization, starseedacademy.org/season 7. And that's where right at the top there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Alan Steinfeld. And that's where you can apply to be part of his remote viewing class.
And it starts next week. I think we have one space left, and we'll do more. We'll do more as it keeps evolving, but it's really fun. I always learn. Thank you, Zenka, for the opportunity, and Adam for holding that space, letting it happen. And Scott, we should do more of this. I have to say it's related to what Jeslyn is teaching because you're using a similar muscle because you're receiving. So this is all about building a sacred academy, an actual mystery school. This is what I really think the great vision of Adam and Zenka are doing. We're training people to be the great beings that we were meant to be. And so doing the impossible is just a small piece of that, but doing the unimaginable is even better.
Yeah, it really warms my heart that I tend to associate remote viewing with military operations, and because that's what was trained and that's what it's used for. And so, and even missing persons and things that aren't so fun. So it warms my heart that we're actually doing this to teach ourselves that we're one, that we're unified, and that we can do amazing fun stuff like explore space together. And as Jesslyn comes on, she's going to show you, she actually does this to help people heal. She's a psychic. So when someone is coming to her because their heart is hurting, because their life is hurting, because they're questioning or searching, or maybe the things are going great and they just want to know their next step, she's got that listening muscle worked out. So this isn't abstract, stuff. This is helping you tune in, like Omashar is doing, I'm sure, when he writes his songs. He's tuning into that thing, that knowing in you. And so, Jesslyn, thank you for all, you're a master of all the modalities, of all these different things, of your intuition, but so much more: light language, remote viewing, tarot cards, healing people, psychic readings, like all these things, because they're from the same gut thing that we want you all to tap into, because this is the non-logical brain that's here for you. So thank you, Jesslyn, for all you do. And your team, research team, is so great because they get a cornucopia of a bunch of different techniques that they're learning to really tap into this so they can use it in their lives.
Yeah, it's interesting because I call it a muscle as well, even though it's not technically a muscle. So we all have a pineal gland in the very center of our brain that they have learned have a bunch of crystals all in there. And as we know, crystals are senders and receivers. That's why we have crystals in all of our technology. And so the muscle, the act of we strengthen that muscle, is actually activating your crystals. And so we can activate our crystals using all of our 5 senses. And so that's why we go through all of the different senses, because they're all the different clairs: clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience, and so forth. And so it is the 6th sense version of each of those. And so you can activate different techniques or different abilities through different senses. And I would love to play a telepathy game with you guys. If you guys want to play, it seems like everybody's tapped in. I was like, yay!
That's so cool. Yeah. And before you start that, I just want to interject one quick thing. So in Alan's team and also Jesselyn's, the way that it's all experiential. So if you don't get the target, it's fine, because you start to go, what did I do that? And then when you get it on the second or third time or whenever you get it, you go, oh, I was trying to smell it first and that gave me the thing. Or, oh, I know it's the first thing that pops in my head. So you're going to start to know where you're getting your information.
Right, you get to look at your own mind.
Right.
Yes.
Maybe you see it first. Maybe you hear it first. Maybe you smell it first. Everyone's got a different orientation to it.
That's right. You get to understand. You get to understand your own mind, and what also gets in the way of your mind. You make these associations, get off track. So the feedback is so important, as Jesselyn knows, to understanding the target, because you start to see the alignment of thought and where it's not aligned. And it's an inner practice. It really is. I just want to say, I use it all the time. I say, okay, if I have this for dinner, how will I feel? And you can check in with your body, your remote view of the future, having eaten that, and see, did that make your body feel good or not good? And I just did this tonight.
That's genius, Alan.
Yes. Well, it's here for us to use for any way possible. So thank you.
Yeah, and I love that Carol was mentioning about the fluoridation in the water. You know, there is, even though you can be super tapped in, there are certain people that have a little bit more calcification of their pineal gland. And so the very first class is going into what to do, what not to do, and how to decalcify the pineal gland. Because even though some people in different zones in the world, they happen to have more fluoride in their water, so we have to decalcify that. That's why the first week is really all about how to activate your crystals. And so through this practice and through avoiding certain foods and also eating other foods will help make that process happen faster.
Oh,
yeah. So do you guys want to play a little quick telepathy game?
Yes.
All right, cool. So I'm going to have a category, and the first category, is this backwards on you?
No, we see it.
You guys can read it. So we're going to have a category of coins. So the options are penny, nickel, dime, quarter, and dollar. So what I want you to do is put your feet flat on the ground, elongate your spine like there's a string pulling your crown up. Go ahead and roll your shoulders forward, up, back, opening up your heart chakra, and take a deep breath into your heart through your nose, as deep as you can go. Letting it out your mouth. Pushing all the stale air out. Push all that stale air out. Breathing in as deep as you can through your nose, right into your heart. And now ask yourself to fully tune in and fully receive this message, this coin that I'm going to send to you, and breathing it out. Breathing in all the way in through your nose again, right into your heart. And hold it. Sipping a little bit more air. Sipping a little bit more air. Put your hands on your heart and intend to get this answer that I am going to be sending you. Go ahead and let it out. So I'm going to give you an option between penny, nickel, dime, quarter, dollar. So I am sending you it now. And go ahead and put it in the chat when you see it. It's usually the first thing. See if you can feel it or sense it in your body. Are there images? Do you smell anything? Are there any memories coming up? All right, I'm going to read some of the things. Okay, cool. So we have, is it Nyla? Nyla, is that how you pronounce your name? So Nyla, Jerry,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes, Nyla.
Nyla, yes, Nyla, Jerry, Richard, whoever got dime, you got it, baby. So I want to hear from those three people, if we can potentially bring those three people up that got it right, because I want to ask you
All right.
questions, because this is how we strengthen this muscle, basically. All right, so let's go with Nyla. Okay, Richard, you're there too.
There's Richard.
Okay,
There's-
hi, Richard.
Hi, how
And
are you?
Nyla. Okay, cool.
Hi.
And then one more.
Was it Jerry?
Yes.
It was.
Okay, here's Jerry.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Yes. Okay. By the way, great job, you guys. I want to get your feedback because it's really important to be a good sender and a good receiver. And so that's
Yeah.
what the 8 weeks course is, really learning how to become both, because that's what the pineal gland is. It is the sender and a receiver. And some people are stronger at sending, some people are stronger at receiving. And it seems like you three are definitely really good at receiving. So maybe just give me a couple words, because I was sending you, and when you send a message, whether it's an object or a target or something, you want to bring as many senses into it. So when I was sending it, I was sending the image of the dime. I was sending the smell of the dime. I was sending the shape, and I was imagining putting it in your hand. And so I was trying to get as many senses as I could into there, but I wanted to get your feedback on what you picked up, just so we can kind of get people to hear and feel like what it was.
For
Well,
me,
the one I saw,
I added one other person, Sheila, also picked up that it's a dime. So you got 4 people here.
Okay, Nyla, let's go with you first.
yeah, the one I saw was a kind of old and tarnished, and I saw it like from an angle, like it was tilted away from me, and it was kind of, it had these gray patches, like it was very, very old.
And how did you know it was a dime as opposed to a nickel or any other silver coin?
I just knew, and I guess I maybe I saw some of the indentations on it, like that, you know, the designs that are on a dime, like that bar or something, but I just knew it was a dime.
That's amazing. And it's funny because when I was placing it in your hands, I was literally imagining placing it in your hands. When you hold a coin and you're placing it, it is at an angle. So it's interesting because past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously, and we haven't wrapped our multidimensional minds around that yet. And so depending on when you pick up the message being sent is very interesting. That's why I always like to hear feedback. So
yeah, and it was like at the top of my field of vision, like it was coming down from further up.
that's so cool. Richard.
For me, it was just intuitively the dime popped in my head. I didn't necessarily see it. The word was more of like what came in first.
Beautiful. And that's what we would call claircognizance. That's called clear knowing. It's just knowing it, right?
Yeah.
And clairvoyance would be something that Nyla, she saw it. She visualized it, right? That's the clear
Yeah.
seeing. Jerry.
Well, I don't know. I guess my testimony is a little more about the sender than the receiver, because after you put the list up of the coins, I don't know when you had decided, but seconds after that, I knew it was a dime. I didn't feel it, see it, smell it, anything. I knew in italics it was a dime.
Awesome. That's claircognizance. And you know, it's really funny. You brought up a very good point, Jerry, because oftentimes when we're doing these exercises in class, when the person is sending it, they could be thinking, oh, I'm going to send them a penny. And then, okay, no, maybe I'm not. And then, oh, maybe I'll send them a quarter. And then when you go to send it, people in the class already picked up the first one that you picked, but then you changed your mind and then went to something else. Because again, past, present, future are happening simultaneously. So I picked dime, and I also picked the next category as well before we started this call, because I didn't want any of the lines to be crossed. And this is actually a very important thing. That's, what Alan was speaking about, intent. intent is everything. And in order to have clear communication, you can't have distractions. You cannot be intending one thing and then switching and intending the other. It has to be super, super clear. So that's a really good point that you brought that up, Jerry. Yeah, I picked that out before we got on this call because I didn't want any crosshairs. And is it Sheila?
Yeah. It just came to me mentally. And I kept thinking maybe it's one of the others. I kept thinking how nice quarters are. You know, they're big and I like quarters. And I kept thinking, no, 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 stick with what is coming through. And it was just consistently a dime. So,
yes.
And I never think of myself as having these abilities. I'm an artist, I'm very visual, but wow, that's a surprise.
Yeah, and I love the point that you made, Sheila, is that you instantly knew, and then your mind, right, the left brain, the logical side, well, maybe it would be a quarter because quarters are this, and I have a relationship with quarters, and la, 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 la. But the fact of the matter is, because you're an artist, you're used to exercising that muscle of listening to your first instincts. Yeah. And that's really by practicing these type of games, you actually strengthen your intuition and you actually strengthen your connection to your own source seed, which is actually, you know, we're just little projectors here, right? We're just like these little holograms. And, you know, that's the coolest thing I think about LightNet and everything that we're doing is that people think that this is not possible. And the truth is that it is our birthright. It is our birthright to have access to all everything, all the information that ever is and ever will be. Beautiful. Thank you guys for sharing. Can we do one more time?
Yeah, I'd love to share. I'm off camera. I'm sorry, but I had such a powerful experience. I just want to share it. So the moment you said, clear, and I'm going to send you one of these 4 things. This small dime, really bright, really clear, a little bit dark, but clear. I don't know how to explain it. Like with a darker edge, but white or light in the center. Really strong image of a dime just went shooting towards me and like into my head. But you hadn't yet said you were sending it. So then I thought, oh no, she didn't say she was sending it yet. Oh, okay. Well, let me try to free myself of that dime. And I didn't want to let go. And I said, no, let me get a blank slate or whatever. That's somebody else's words, but anyway, I'm taking that up. But let me get clear of this. It wouldn't let go. And I thought, what about a quarter? It wouldn't let go. And then you said it anyway. So that was my experience. I just wanted to share that because it was so strong. It like took me by surprise. So I'm an artist also, or was an artist, and I'm also a vegan, which I think makes a difference and stuff like that. But anyway, thank you. Just wanted to share. Thank you. It was so strong. It was so powerful. I just took me by surprise. So thanks.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for all of your generosity and being vulnerable to share this. And when we do share our experiences with each other, we actually activate each other's consciousness. And so it is really important. When they say sharing is caring, it sounds really cheesy and lame, but it actually truly is our expansion. And that's why these groups of 8 and these groups of 12 are so potent, because it actually strengthens the resonant field. And there was this study done in like the 60s or 70s where they wanted to see if they can lower crime rate in the major cities. And so they brought all these meditators to, you know, the top town, and they meditated, and it basically lowered the emergency room entrances, it lowered the crime, and it lowered the violence all in one night. And it was so successful that they ended up doing the next top 10 major cities. And then science was like, what? How is this possible? And that's what they discovered. They discovered that when one person is meditating, their resonant fields goes out to a certain distance. And then when another person is meditating at the same time, and they don't even have to be in the same room, y'all. They just have to be doing it at the same time. And then 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It equals 4 because it cubes, or what is it? What's to the 4th power? It's not cubed, but it's squared is 2. I don't know. It's to the 4th power. So that's how powerful these groups are, is when we're in that same resonant field together, we're actually activating everybody else. And now that you guys are kind of warmed up here, I do like what Grace said, I believe it was Grace, she was saying, you know, she got this image that just kind of came in, and then she was like, well, she didn't pick the thing yet, even though I did, but you didn't know that. And then you said blank slate. So that is a really good technique too. So if you're feeling like all these things coming in, it is important to pay attention to the first thing, but also you can just wipe the slate clean, get back into the presence of your heart, because your heart is actually what magnifies your field for your brain too. There's actually a whole institute called Heart Math that measures all that. So when you bring your heart into it and your feelings into it, it actually makes it easier for you to tap into your intuition. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to give you one more category. We'll do a quickie one. This is of colors. And where did she go? Okay, well, I guess.
I'll put it right in front of your body. There you go.
So the colors that I have here for you to choose from are red, yellow, blue, green, purple. I'm going to say it one more time. Red, yellow, blue, green, purple. All right. So go ahead and just take a moment to tune in. I've already picked it, but I'm actually going to start sending it to you now. And if you have it, go ahead and put it in the chat. And if you're confused, you can always ask your higher self or ask your heart to tune in and ask your heart what it is, because your heart always knows. Our heart knows even before our brain does. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I'm way behind a message. Okay, wow. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, so if we can bring up to the screen Susan, Zenka and Adam, Roger Dodger. Yeah. So yeah, let's bring up these guys. So the color was yellow. That was the color I was sending. I'd love to hear from you guys, like how it occurred for you, if you felt it, smelt it, saw it, heard it, any feelings that came up, because I was also sending you really intense feelings with this, because I have such a deep, deep, deep connection to yellow. I've got yellow in the center of my eyes. So I was also sending sunflowers. I was sending, you know, the bright sun. And then also in my mind, quietly, I was saying yellow, 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 like over and over and over again, because some people are clairaudient, right? Clairaudience is one of the least developed skills in all of humanity. And I think it's when we changed the frequency and the tuning to public radio to 440 hertz. We used to only play 432 hertz with music, and then Hitler did all this research and discovered that people are more controlled with 440. So then they made it a standard, and then it was so successful. Then the US adopted it with Rockefeller and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, who would like to go first and share?
I actually felt it. I did feel yellow. It was the first thing that came in my mind, but I also just felt it. Like you said, that's weird that you said that, because that was going to be my answer, like how I felt it.
And that would be what we call clairsentience, where we feel it in our bodies. And I would say that's probably the most common clairs that we have, besides claircognizance, but most people can feel it in their body. And that's where what we would call the gut instinct. Oh, I feel it in my gut. That is clairsentience. Beautiful. Yeah, I was sending some powerful yellow.
I also felt yellow. Yeah.
And when I just a question, not to try and like pick your answer, but what do you mean? How did you feel it? Like, what is the difference between feeling yellow or feeling blue, or, you know what I mean? Like, how did you identify that?
it was a knowing. It's just a knowing. Yeah.
For me,
Beautiful.
Whereas I visualize it. So I
Okay.
visualize yellow.
Awesome. So you saw that.
Yeah.
And when I was sending the sun and the heat, I was sending like blazing sun, like melting, it was like 109 here in Sedona today. So I was like blazing.
Yeah, it's 109 here too today.
Wow. Whew. What about you, Karen? Bottom left button on. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it. Gosh, it was like a few things. Initially, it was a feeling because I'm a strong clairsentient, but then I was like just really tuning in more, and I actually saw yellow, and then I felt like it was a knowing. So I would say sort of three of the.
Awesome. Beautiful. And Karen, I love that you said that, because the reason why I ask you specifically, because the more we can learn to identify how we receive and perceive information, then we can start expanding that. And my goal is that everybody will be able to access their intuition through all five senses, because ultimately that's what we're here to do. And so that's why it is important to acknowledge and pay attention to how you receive that. So thank you for noticing that, Karen, because that is important. And most of the time we do pick up information in different senses, but it's whatever the strongest one is the one that we mostly identify with. And so that's why we go through 8 weeks, is so that we can strengthen those other aspects.
We have another yellow person.
Oh,
Tim.
beautiful. Yeah, Tim, I'd love to hear.
Oh yeah, all I saw was just yellow, like just a yellow screen in front of me. I'm a real big yellow fan. I'm a glass blower. I love the color yellow, and all I saw was just yellow.
Yay!
It was a visual.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Wow, you guys. Yeah, after after Alan did his remote viewing, I was like, this is going to be a good class. I was like, oh, good. Yay. Everybody here is tuned in. Well, of course, what do you expect when you're all part of the same global tribe, right? It's like, and again, we're only getting stronger. We're only getting better. And so telepathy is just one of the aspects that we go through in my 8-week class. So we will also be doing remote viewing, but it's more like practical remote viewing. Like if you lose your keys, you need to find your keys. If you lose your wallet, you need to lose your wallet. Or if you have kids that you haven't talked to or are estranged, you can check in on them and make sure they're okay, So the remote viewing that we'll be doing is more practical and like more everyday stuff. And then also we're going to be tuning in with our frequencies using our own chamber, which is our heart chamber, and tuning in with our vocal cords and our heart, and uniting our heart and our mind to create frequencies out of our mouth, which is called light language. And so learning how to channel frequencies through your own vocal cords that heal you, and also coincidentally heal the people that listen to it. And the cool thing about light language is when you are channeling and you are a pure vessel, and again, intention is everything, the message that you are sharing can be completely different for each person who's in the class, which is awesome. And everybody gets the message or the thing that they need, because that's how frequency works. Tesla spoke, if you think of the universe, if you want to know the secrets to the universe, think more in frequency, vibration, and resonance. And so learning how to use your very own gift from source, gift from universe, to be able to channel healing frequencies for yourself, your loved ones, and friends is magical. And we have a couple spaces left. So I would love to have you join us.
And
I'm just super excited.
put the link in where they can join. And I've gone ahead and pulled up your book, The Path of Least Resistance. So while I've got that on camera, and this is something we can get on Amazon, tell us a little bit about that. And if maybe Zenka can put into the chat box the link to where people can sign up for your course.
Beautiful. So the link to sign up for my course is the same as Alan's, but you just have, like, when you see Alan's face in the first page on the first thing, if you keep scrolling down, my class is below that.
Okay, so I'll go there right now. There's Alan. We are scrolling down. There you are.
Boop-a-doo, boop, boop.
All right. So for everybody watching, because most of the people watching are watching on YouTube or on Facebook, all the different groups and pages. We go out to about 100 different groups, Jessie Lynn. So I'm going to read it slowly for people. It's starseedacademy.org/season 7. starseedacademy.org season 7. That's where you can learn about Jessie Lynn and rapid intuition and what we talked about earlier with Alan Steinfeld. And let me see if there's anything else down here.
Yeah, it's all of the classes that we have. Yep.
Art. Wow. Okay.
With coffee coming up next.
All right. And there's the man. There's Adam, Mr. Zenka. So lots of good things happening there. Is there anything you do want to share about your book?
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much. And first of all, thank you, Scott, for having us. This really, like, my passion. I believe. I believe that when everybody is tapped into their higher version of themselves, this planet is going to be transformed in a second. And so doing these little things, no matter how silly or trivial they may be, learning to remote view off planet is actually making our planet a better place. Learning how to send and receive telepathic messages is actually making our planet a better place. So, and just as far as my book goes, I wrote my book because I do coaching and I teach people how to live the life of their dreams. And I've been doing this successfully since I was 14 years old. And people would always say, well, how do you do it? And basically, I put together this book that allows you to align your spirit, body, and mind so that you can actually use all three aspects of yourself to get exactly what you want. And I wanted people to be free of their childhood trauma. I wanted people to be free of the constraints or the old programming or the patterns that have been put upon us or that we've even put upon ourselves, so that you can have the freedom to be able to live the life of your dreams. And when you're living your purpose with your passion, everything changes. And so this is a book to help you do that. So I don't even need to be present. And that's kind of what I wanted to do, is to be able to give, some people are self-starters, they love to read. And I wanted to be able to have a manual. It's basically your manufacturer's instruction manual that they forgot to give you at birth to help you live a happy, healthy life and fulfill your purpose.
Wow. All right, well, I'm going to put that in the chat box for our Zoomers. Again, for anybody watching on Facebook or YouTube, just go to Amazon, and it's called The Path of Least Resistance, or put in her name, Jessie Lynn Desmond. And I'm going to go to Omoshar for a song, and while he's playing, everybody can order your book. So there you have it.
Thank you, Scott.
Those who are dancing, where are you, Omoshar? There he is. Hey, bro. That's psychedelic.
Yeah, it's because Zenka said about color, and I thought, what shall I choose next? And here's some color for you.
She asked for color. You're giving us color.
Because everything does transmit through color and sound and vibration. And we intrinsically know that. We've just been tuned out, and we've been relegated to our 5 senses. And of course, there's probably at least 55 senses. And with that, here we go. Here we go. Alrighty then.
Yes, we are here and now. And it's time to leave the past behind. So take me by the hand. Let us walk across this sacred land. Sing along. I am you. Though we seem to come from different skies, and what is true is a love that shines right through your eyes. Yes, we are here and now, and it's time to leave the past behind. We'll fly on eagle's wings, and you know we'll cry with gratitude, and we will remember you're always divinely connected. Our spirits, our bodies are being resurrected. The love in your hearts will lift you up, and I'll come along and fill your cup, your blue cup. Though we seem to come from different skies, just listen. What is true? Love that shines right through your eyes. 1,000 sunny days describes the joy I feel. I'd walk a million miles, 'cause you know we'll see the truth reveal, and we will remember you're always divinely connected. Our spirits, our bodies are being resurrected. The love in your hearts will lift you up, and I'll come along and fill your cup. One more time. I am you. Though we seem to come from different skies, and what is true is a love that shines right through your eyes. Take it away.
Big twinkles for Omashar. I love that song. And there's so many of you moving and dancing. I had to go to gallery view. I couldn't. There's more than 9 people.
Contain us all. I think I'm going to be called Connor Shah from now on.
I like that one. Oh, beautiful. And Coffee, you've got a screen sharing privilege. So you can just pull those images up. That's a message for Coffee.
Cool, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, we're having a fun time, Zenka. I hope you don't mind that it's going to go a little bit longer, because I know you still got some more really fun stuff.
Yeah, I just was really feeling gratitude for all the people that have paid to be in the Zoom room with Scott and support his mission in the world to bring loving information and hope to the world. So if if you're one of the many, many people who have found yourself inside this Zoom room, thank you so much for supporting Omashar and Scott. Like, he has been a really beautiful part of my life, and I'm glad that you cherish him as well.
Oh, thank you, Zenka. Thank you.
Yeah. It's really, when we all put in a little bit, we can do a lot of cool stuff. So a small, amount of money adds up and can really support the projects we love and care about. So Thank you. So the next two people that are coming up are two professors, Coffee Rain and Adam, are going to be talking about the other two sessions in this season. And we're not going to do experiential work with these two last sessions, or maybe we are. Okay, so you've changed your mind. Okay, perfect. But the idea really is that you guys, when we talked about this impossible wall that we find ourselves in, this box in our lives, whatever it is that you think is impossible, whether it's talking to someone you've been estranged with, or healing something, or doing something, or getting a job, whatever it is, these techniques that you're going to learn with drawing and waking induced lucid dreaming, these are the brain waves and the other things that are going to support you in easing into your logical mind, which we know has got the incomplete information, you guys. It's got a bad hypothesis that we bought into about what we're truly capable of as a community and as humans. And I just want to close in saying here that, these research teams, almost, that we call them in Starseed Academy, it's not about learning general things. It's about you learning about you. Just like hopefully you've learned something about yourself tonight in doing a couple of these quick little things, because your self-knowledge is really your gateway to empowering yourself and each other. So yeah, thank you so much. And I'm excited to present Coffee Rain to you. She is one of the most positive, loving, talented artists that I've ever met. And again, it's not about just drawing something and does that look right? It's about producing effects and your intuition and your knowingness onto something that you're connecting with that part of your brain. And some people even believe that the cave drawings are not them saying, oh, I did this and this is what the animal looked like. They think of it as projecting themselves into the future of what they want to happen. And Coffee, I hope you're going to talk about placeholders, because this is an interesting thing that you have developed over the years. But anyway, thank you, Coffee, for being here, and thanks for the amazing work you're doing in the world.
Thank you, Zenka. Thank you for such an introduction. Honestly, if it wasn't for Zenka and for LightNet, I don't know if I would even have reached this point in my life, because her and this community has just been able to give me so much confidence in doing what I'm doing today. And so, yeah, let me get into it real quick. But so I've been an artist for most of my life. I started drawing since I was 4. And this is, of course, aside from my goals and life passion to levitate, I also love to draw. Is my Wi-Fi cutting out a little bit here?
No, you
okay.
seem good.
Okay, good, because it looks like I was lagging a little bit. But
there's a little bit.
Now you are.
Yeah, now you're seriously turning into a artificial version of yourself.
Your vocals are okay though.
It's like they said, my gamma is like interfering here. Okay, let me see if I can share screen, if it'll let me do that. And then maybe I can turn off my video so we can just look at what we have here. Do a little bit of, okay, one second. Seems like everyone's just getting home from work, so the internet is like bogging down a bit. Alrighty, so manifestation placeholders is something I've been working on for a bit here, and it is basically the idea I came up with is you can visualize things, but when you're manifesting something and trying to hold that image in your head, usually it gets distorted for however long you're holding it, unless you're like a super good manifester and then you can hold that image for long periods of time. But I decided...
I'm coming in for a moment. It's not showing up.
Oh, it's not showing up.
Oh, well, there it goes. It finally just popped out. The visualizations are limitless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So So manifestation placeholders is basically literally what the name is a placeholder. So you get this idea of what you're trying to manifest. And if you're an artist, you can draw it. And if you're not an artist, you can potentially commission another artist or me to help you bring that visualization into the physical world. And so that's some of the things that we're going to be covering actually in my class, which I think is really interesting because I want to give people the ability to channel through these frequencies that you're connecting with. But most importantly, like what we love to focus on the most here is, of course, ET contact and lots of the other metaphysical ways. But what the activity that we're going to do today is going to be kind of interesting. I want to ask everybody if they can see my screen here with this Canva thing. I have the pick an artistic medium. Can everybody see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So if everybody is game for it, if you have, the Notes app on your phone and your finger that you can draw with, or a little notebook and a pencil, you can even come back to this at a later time. All we really need is like 5 to 8 minutes to go through with this. And I'm doing a very, very shortened version here for us today. But I'm going to go ahead and pick sketching and doodling for myself just because I don't have painting or sculpting, but somebody could do music or singing, writing, poetry, whatever artistic medium you feel comfortable using. That's what we're going to use today. All right. So I am just going to go through 3 simple questions here because we are going to do an exercise where we are going to channel our inner child to help us to connect with these etheric energies and bring through something new. We're going to channel from our childhood, from our child self. And this is like one of the first things I like doing with people because it actually gets to the root of unlocking some of your creative abilities. So where some people feel themselves suppressed is usually because they have come in a blockage with not allowing themselves to play. And playing is so important as a human and a creative, and connecting to creativity and like the essence of creation itself. It's one of our human birthrights. And it's why we're able to bring things, from these etheric planes onto the physical plane. So I would like everybody to start out, just what's one of your fondest childhood memories? Very quickly, go ahead and jot that down. I'll give everybody like a moment here. Just a few more seconds. Okay, now what was something you loved to make believe yourself as? And this could really be anything. You could have been making believe yourself as a dragon or a mermaid or an astronaut or a scientist. Just something you fondly remember was fun to make believe yourself as. That's great. I'm loving some of these comments. All right, so next is who was your biggest inspiration as a kid? And this can be someone real or fictional. So this could be from a favorite video game or a character from a TV show, superhero. It could be your parent, it could be someone you knew. Couple more minutes here. Okay. Now, I am going to take everyone through a very quick meditation where we are going to stack all these three things. We're going to channel the frequency from your fondest childhood memory into the thing that you once loved to make believe yourself as. And we're going to call upon your childhood inspiration to guide you. So after we do that, I'll get into the actual art tip, but here for a moment, let's just all go ahead and close our eyes. So I am going to ask you to just go ahead and picture yourself in that really amazing childhood memory. And it can be any memory, the first one that pops up that just really brings a smile to your face. And we're just going to expand that feeling, that frequency in our bodies. Just relive whatever aspects you can of that, whether you're laughing or playing or talking to someone, or just experiencing a profound moment of wonderment or curiosity. And I'm going to have you now think of that thing that you really used to love pretending to be, however real that felt for you. Go ahead and bring this fondness and this joy into this belief that you created for yourself as a child. Because nothing was impossible when you were inside of your imagination. No one could tell you any differently. And now we're going to call in your childhood guide, your childhood inspiration, to go ahead and lend a hand in this frequency. And while we're here sitting in this, we're going to make this a ball of energy. And we are going to place this ball into our hearts, where it is going to expand through every cell in our body, absolutely filling us with this unique frequency of childlike creativity. And this frequency is going to pinpoint at the place that you are going to be expressing yourself with. So whether that is your throat, because you're going to be singing, or your hand, because you are going to be drawing or crafting, that energy is just going to start flowing there in waves and waves, and concentrating there. And as we slowly now open our eyes, we are going to have this energy with us to guide us into this experience. Give everyone a second to come back here. Alrighty, cool. Welcome back, everyone. And so the art tip that I would like to give people, if anyone is drawing and sketching like I will be, I would like you to just take a moment in this frequency and see the first image that pops up in your mind. It could be a being, it could be an object, but whatever subject matter sticks out to you the most, I want you to focus on that and try to draw that one thing. So if you're seeing a cat, but you see the eye very clearly, draw that cat eye, sketch that cat eye with me. And go ahead and you can add even an artistic flair to it. So maybe it's a cat eye and then you add fairy wings off of the back of it to really communicate the frequency that you felt with it. So it doesn't always have to be exactly what you saw either. You can add twists to it, but whatever comes up for you, I want you to go ahead and express that. And this goes along with singing too. You can go ahead while you're on mute and just start humming frequencies, whatever's coming up. And then of course you can always come back to this later. And sometimes I like to recommend, if you're having trouble drawing things, you can look up references on Google or Pinterest of something in the real world to relate it to, just so you can start getting that grounding, because we're really trying to ground these etheric frequencies into something physical. And I'm gonna set a little timer here for about 6 minutes, if that works for everybody.
Want to check in to see how much more time you want to give people coffee?
Yeah, I just have 51 seconds actually.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
This is the longest period of silence in the 5-year history of this show. So
That's hilarious. Well, as everyone's kind of coming back, ooh, I love that art, by the way, Jeffrey. That is great. We can feature that. Here, let me take this off a screen share. As everyone's coming back, I want to just talk about something that Zenka mentioned earlier, which is when you go into deep channeling states and you're in art, doing art, it's very easy for your brain to get into your alpha brainwave and like theta brainwave, which is a really great brainwave for contact. So yeah. Alrighty. So as everyone's coming back here, I would love to hear about your experiences in the chat. And oh, there's my alarm for 6 minutes. I will go ahead and share mine with you guys. So let's see if, oh, I think I'm gonna, if I turn this off, then maybe it'll focus on my screen better. So I saw this moon with butterfly wings. Oh man, this is not working out. Let's see.
if
I
you
think
hold
I
it,
can actually,
if you there are certain points where you hit it. So I'll tell you when to stop. Try again because there are places. Come forward, forward. Stop. And we see the blue butterfly and a leash.
yeah, we see the blue butterfly, but we don't see the, let me make the background black and then maybe it'll stick out more. Okay.
Oh yeah, there we go.
So you can see the moon kind of.
Very good.
Oh, there we go. You can see like the detail in the butterfly wings a little bit. So that's what I ended up channeling. That's how the frequency wanted to express itself that I got. Oh, a poem, a haiku. Beautiful. Okay. That's so beautiful. Is that Daria?
That's Tarina Joy. I'll read it.
Go ahead.
It's her haiku poem, and it's float without effort, levitating with such ease, flying freely too.
Wow, that is gorgeous. I love that. I love how that made my body feel too. It's just so bubbly and like I feel like I can really get in touch with the frequency that you were channeling through that. Thank you so much for participating. That's beautiful. Yes, okay, amazing. Would anyone else like to share their art or raise their hand? You can talk about your art experience, what that was like for you. For me, I went through and connected with a couple different times in my life. I've always really loved like jumping off of rocks and seeing how long I could float in the air. So that's very along the lines of the levitation. And I brought that into the frequency, as well as some of my childhood inspirations were a lot of fictional characters. So one of my first, this is a fun fact, one of my first childhood crushes was a character who could float and was an alien. So that was really funny. It's like an anime character, and I never put that together until like now, way later in my life. So it's funny to see how everything loops back around. Zenka and Adam, would you like to come up and share?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it was kind of interesting because, you know, I wrote down, it was like, oh, what's your childhood thing? I wrote down magician, which is hilarious because that's what I like to bring about is magic or whatever, right? And Lily Tomlin was someone that I really admired because she'd do these one-person shows, and she was just like, I was studying theater as a young kid and whatever. So like I drew her, and you know, Lynn McTaggart, who's also been big influence in my life, told me, she's like, she was telling people how to follow their purpose, and she's like, dream big. And I used to have that as my password for all of my, you know, like many years. I used that as my password, just like dream big, because I was trying to find a way to express myself, even though no one really believed in me or anything like that. I was just like, I have to do this. And so this was just like a picture, and I can't draw, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But it's just like her opening this door to like everything, like to a vastness in this light. And she's just like, go forth, you know, like,
Yes,
you know, so,
yes. And I want to say, can you hold that up to the screen so we can see it if you want to?
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
not.
love it. Okay, no, I want to say though, I want to say about this. So what you've done there, Zenka, is you have channeled that frequency of having that door open for you, for that magician energy to come through and be anchored here on this physical plane. So now whenever you see that image, it's getting like tenfold back to you because you've taken it from the etheric and you put it here in the physical. So it does not have to be a great like fine art piece of art for it to count as channeled art. And that's what I'm trying to tell everyone here and show the world is you can start channeling these frequencies, bringing them into your life in a solid way without having crazy magnificent art skills. You can just do what you're comfortable with. And then this also starts to open up your creative mind to new possibilities and new ways of thinking. And it's all a muscle, like Jesslyn and Alan were talking about earlier. Doing this, it really gets those juices flowing, and it helps open you up to more possibilities in your life and more opportunities to, live lucidly, like is so displayed on your shirt. And yeah, so if you guys want to sign up for the art course, we only have a week left. And some of the things that we're also going to be going over in that course is we're going to be doing channeling for each other, which is going to be really interesting. We're going to touch on shadow work. So, if you're having blockages of some kind, any kind of that will help to like kind of break you free of that and get more into this creative energy. And then we're going to be drawing from our dreams and also drawing our guides, calling in our guides and illustrating them and our spirit animals, etc. So we've got a lot of fun things lined up for this class. And I like to say it's more of a journey even. And of course it's a research group, but this is going to be an artistic journey that we embark on together. So that's going to be really exciting.
That's great. Yeah, and that's, you guys, this is why everyone's so into, vision boards and stuff like that. It's putting yourself out there. Thoughts get created and they never die. So when you think something, I am going to feel well, or I am this. The same thing with drawing. It's your way of placing your placemark or placeholder into your dreams, into your thoughts, into your things. And it can be a great way to access, like she said, your guides and all these other things that your brain is not really cognizing. So speaking of dreams, this incredible guy who's taught me so much about lucid living and about bringing our dreams to our lives, and all your research is really cool.
Thank you. And I really enjoyed going through everyone's courses this evening. Want to say just a quick word of appreciation for everything that's going on here, and the act of doing these different things is surely raising the consciousness, and that field ripples out like a pebble in a pond, and it makes a huge and incredible difference in this world. So bless you. We're going to mostly talk about lucid living. Lucid living is sort of what has occurred through the process of doing waking induced lucid dreaming and advanced lucid dreaming techniques. And I'll just cover a couple of those. Some of the stuff we've gone into in previous courses, and some of the things we'll do this season with our team have to do with time dilation while lucid dreaming. If you're not familiar with the concept, one takes a nap or goes to bed at night and dreams for a week instead of linear real time. The time can expand, and it can be a week, a month, and if you get really adventurous, a year or more. And there's a kind of famous video that Alan Watts, there with an Alan Watts narration, that suggests that one could even dream a lifetime. And there could be the possibility that we would find someday that this is exactly what we're doing. And from that concept, lucid living has been born. I like to describe it that when we have a dream, whether or not it's lucid, we've used our consciousness to arrange energy within our minds, and that energy represents a world in which we have an experience. And so our consciousness utilizes energy to create an experience while we're asleep. And when we become lucid in those dreams, we begin to acquire the ability and methodology for being able to have and act upon that experience. We can modify or change the experience. Maybe not completely making everything. I like to describe sort of that detailed orientation. If you would imagine a giant field filled with rooms, okay, there's 17,000 rooms in front of you. Now, if you're going to get detail oriented, you have to go in and decorate every single one. And you could do that with time dilation. You could spend the next 75 years decorating those rooms, but you could also draw back and just say, I'm flying over a jungle, and you allow the jungle to be created before you. And that's a technique for lucid dreaming. With lucid living, we begin to realize that our consciousness is active within this world. The famous double slit experiment has proven that the observer has an effect on the light traveling through the atmosphere. And so our consciousness is actually having an effect on the energy that is being represented here in this world. And we are proposing that we have the ability to act upon that lucidly. And so we began a technique called blooming. And blooming is where people on a team select an object, and then we begin to count how many times we saw it. And the object started out with like red balls. And then we got a little, we all counted the times we saw red balls during the next week. And it was very numerous. We had quite an experience with red balls ourselves. And then it went to blue bears. And that was interesting. I hadn't seen one for a few days. And then I opened up a star app one night looking at stargazing and wondering if I was seeing a UFO or a satellite. And there was a blue bear right in my star app. So it was there, it counted for me. And then we got more and more adventurous. And that resulted in a couple of pretty spectacular experiences where I had said, Zenka, well, why don't we try utilizing blooming for something that we really want? And I'll let her share at least one of those.
Yeah, so we all just came up with three. It was like medium, small, medium, large things. And my large one was like talking to Uri Geller, because I'm a spoon bender and I like really wanted to know him. I wanted to talk to him, you know. And I've been trying to get my friend to give me his number. I mean, I'd asked the Hertogs, I asked everyone I needed to get in touch with this guy. And I also wanted to have 100 people in my seminar, which I thought was impossible too. That was like right up there and impossible. By the end of the week, I was on a Zoom with Yuri Keller, and I had 100 people in my seminar. I was like, what is going on? So there was this power that was generated on our team with these 12 people, and other people had similar experiences, and my mind got blown. And so it really, this research has been very interesting.
Yeah, it really is incredible, kind of the potential that we have. And I wanted to mention my impossibles was kind of hard for me to come up with at the beginning of the program. Working with LightNet and with Zenka, the impossible becomes a fuzzy gray area. But we've had an incredible effect on one another this evening. And if we think about those distances and we were to point, well, where was that person that I sensed that with? And where was that other person? And you could say, that's 100 miles, that's 1,000 miles. But what about straight up? If we think about 100 miles straight up, that's space. And there isn't a big plastic bag that holds the atmosphere on it to the Earth. And so we're hurtling through space at over 60,000 miles an hour, and the atmosphere somehow sticks to the planet. And I think that almost seems impossible, and yet it happens. And yet it happens. And so I invite you to join us in exploring things that we think are impossible and discovering how our own inner abilities can express those things to be not just possible, but probable.
And again, this is all on the same page. It's the starseedacademy.org/season 7. There he is. There is the master who's helping us with waking induced lucid dreaming, dreaming into reality with Adam. And Adam, what a beautiful share. And what a beautiful program this has been. Wow. This has been like one of my favorite Wednesday night shows ever, by far. Really, just so much fun. Above it, I mean, I knew it would be fun, but it's been really, really fun. And thank you for blowing our minds. And everybody, pop in some final thoughts, some of the experiences you may have had. I'm going to read just one comment right now because it sums it up. It's from Ayada. She writes, "Oh my God, I want to rewatch this entire show tonight. How incredible and wonderful. This is the way of the future. And we're right at the threshold this very moment. Thank you." And now in big letters, capitals. "Thank you, everybody, for this incredible evening. I cannot say enough how inspired I am." And Ayada, I think you wrote what most of us are feeling. She really captured it. So again, I want to show one more website, and that's the main website for LightNet. And it's easy. It's lightnet.org, the science of the impossible. And go to this website, check it out. Take a look at all the different things that they're doing, read about the mission. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the Holo Movement Purpose Lab. We'll have to do a whole nother show about that. Of course, you did introduce it on the show a few weeks ago. So spoon bending, you can visit the spoon bending lab. When I was at Zenka's house, I remember going into where her son was on computer. There's this whole bowl of bent spoons. I felt kind of bad for all these poor little bent spoons. So anyway, you guys are fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm going to bring Coffee Rain back up. Thank you. Coffee, what a pleasure to meet you. You're fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to be here on the show. And it was great to get to know you like that little bit just over text. But now seeing you in person, that's great. You have such a great energy. I see why and how you and Zenka have such a great friendship. And yeah, I'm just really thankful to be, just a part of what you're creating here, because it's been wonderful. This whole community surrounding you definitely just expands. I can feel the love. You know what I mean?
A couple of things before we go to thank you, Coffee. We do have a question. So I'm going to ask you one more question, Zenka, because I think it's a question many people are curious about. And then we've got a little bit of promotion for what's coming up. But Zenka from Dorina Joy, she's asking, what is the most impossible thing that you have done, achieved, or manifested? Or would it be what you already said about Uri Geller or 100 people?
Oh, no. So out of his team, we started to do bigger and bigger experiments. And at one point, Glenn Ryan, who's a famous scientist, came to me and he's like, I really want my own lab. I want to focus on what I'm doing. It's my time in my life. And a young scientist came to me at the same time, Michael Ray, who said the same things, like, I want to stop doing drywall. I need to be a scientist. And I was like, well, we need a lab. And I was like, well, I don't know, like, let's put it in the dream machine. Let's use the tech that Michael had done and Adam had done. They put a circle together and a millionaire funded them 8 months later on full salaries with a $50,000 lab, full salaries. These particular two people who had just come together, dreamed together. We applauded their like guts to dream, and we seconded the dream, and whatever happened in the whatever realms all came together, and these guys are now living the life of their dreams and that's what we can do for each other, you guys.
Wow.
So one of the things that I didn't even think it was possible. I was like, well, dream on, kind of.
Yeah.
And now my level of belief is bigger now for holding space for everybody. No matter how crazy your dream sounds, the universe wants to help you, and you just have to allow it to come in, and your belief is important. Believe in yourself. That's important. And believe in each other. That's really important. And the sky's kind of the limit is what we're starting to realize. It's crazy. And we're excited to share our research as we develop more. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, hopefully this is inspiring all of us to do more dreaming, more sharing of our dreams, creating more pods. Thank you both so much. I love you guys so much. Whew, a couple things I want to share. How perfect that we did this show on this guy's birthday. Nikola Tesla's birthday is today. And so I'm going to read, this was presented, I think Tarina Joy put this in, but here's a quote. For ages, this idea has been proclaimed in the consummately wise teachings of religion, probably not alone as a means of ensuring peace and harmony among men, but as a deeply founded truth. The Buddhist expresses it in one way, the Christian in another, but both say the same. We are all one. And isn't that what all these things we're learning are teaching us? The different ways of helping us know that we really are one amazing consciousness. So this whole week is dedicated to manifesting magic. And so we're going to continue on Saturday night's show. Saturday night's show is going to feature Bruce Lipton, who is kind of, we heard Zenka talk about him, and some of his major students. And they're going to come on and they're going to share what they've learned from Bruce. And so it's going to be similar to tonight in terms of we're going to have some real practical ways to reprogram the ego mind into infinite possibilities. And Alan Steinfeld will be back co-hosting. And we've got great music. We've got, of course, Omashar, but also Gary Malkin and Kristen Hoffman. And then, as I say, some of his students. And there's going to be a big live event that Alan is producing. So for anybody who can get to New York, there's a live event with Bruce. And I'm going to show a 1-minute video just to kind of promote this and maybe get some people excited to go to New York.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Scott. Alan Steinfeld of New Realities and Mitchell Rabin of Better World are very happy to be bringing world-renowned biologist, mystic, philosopher Bruce Lipton to New York Saturday, August 3rd for an epic Convergence of Science and Spirit masterclass. And the renowned songwriter, singer Kristen Hoffman will do the opening number for the event. Thanks, Kristen. On this show, I asked Bruce to tell me what the 6-hour workshop in New York will all be about.
You know what it's all about? Knowledge is power, but here's what makes it interesting. Knowledge of self, which turns into self-empowerment. To become the creator instead of the presumed victim is all this new science.
For tickets for the Bruce Lipton event in New York, August 3rd, go to www.betterworld.net/events-2 or use the QR code. Right now we have a great 2-for-1 special because we really want people there to see this work. Thank you.
So that's going to be a really fun event. Boy, I would love to be there live. But Most of us can't be there live, so come be with us on Saturday night on The Awakening World, where we'll get at least a glimpse and a little homeopathic dose of that medicine. We're going to get more than a homeopathic dose now of Omashar to close us out for the night.
Hey, wow. I just saw Alan just resurrected himself from the horizontal position. So that was a brilliant little video there with Bruce Lipton. I think you put it together, but it was quite stunning.
Yeah,
Thank you. One, two, three, four. What more can I be than what I am? Though it's taken some time to clear these clouds from my eyes. So open your heart and dance along. I'm thinking it's time to stop that same old song. I've come alive, so hear me now. I am in love with the world around me, and I will hold her in my arms, lift her with my dreaming. Ba-da-da-da. I lift her with my dreaming. Ba-da-da-da. I lift her with my dreaming. Da-da-da-da. So don't try to hold me to what I was. I've traveled through time to see this day arise. The love that I am is here for you. So open the door and let the sun shine in. I've come alive, so hear me now. I am in love with the world around me, and I will hold her in my arms and lift her with my dreaming. Wa-da-da-da. I lift her with my dreaming. Wa-da-da-da. I lift her with my dreaming. Ba-da-da-da. So open your heart and dance along. I'm thinking it's time to stop that same old song. I've come alive, so hear me now. I am in love with the world around me, and I will hold her in my arms and lift her with my dreaming. Ba-da-da. I left her with my dreaming. Ba-da-da. I left her with my dreaming. Ba-da-da-da. What more can I be than what I am?
Clearly, we can be so much more, and thank God for Zenka to guide us there. Thank you, Zenka, for being just this incredible guide into infinite possibilities. And thank you, Omashar, for your amazing, inspiring music. Every song, every show.
What an inspiring show. Holy smoke. It just, the possibilities are endless, boundless, and through the show, I'm getting to feel it. And that has been my challenge, is opening up my feeling body again, because we've all been knocked around a bit and got a bit tough in our feeling body. And so thank you, Zenka and cohorts, for allowing me to defrost. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring up Zenka and Adam one more time.
Coffee is somewhere, I think.
Thank you both, you guys. You were just wonderful.
Yeah,
And
thank you. And your show on Saturday is going to be amazing. Like,
tune in, please tune in if you can.
so cool, so great. Yeah, so really looking forward to that. Thanks for always bringing on such inspiring people, and thanks to everyone who's here, who's watching, who's dreaming, and who's expanding that possible. So we love all you guys. Thanks so much for tonight.
Take care, you guys. Thank you, Global Peace Tribe audience. Have a great couple of days. We'll see you all on Saturday night. Going to go to gallery view one last time. Take care, everybody. Have a great couple of days. We'll see you on Saturday.